The wreckage of the transport vessel, Meridian's Hope, lay scattered across the crimson sands of Carthex Prime like broken teeth. Mira Thorne had survived the crash. Barely. Her emergency pod cushioning the impact enough to leave her with nothing more than bruises and a splitting headache. But survival, she quickly learned, was only the first challenge on this hostile world. The planet's twin suns beat down mercilessly as she stumbled through the wreckage, searching for supplies. The distress beacon was active, but rescue wouldn't arrive for at least 3 standard weeks. 3 weeks on a planet the survey reports had classified as extreme hostile fauna, avoid ground contact. She found the survival pack wedged under a twisted bulkhead. As she pulled it free, a sound froze her blood. A low, rumbling growl that seemed to vibrate through the very ground. Mira turned slowly to see a creature that nightmares would envy, a Carthexian razorback, standing nearly 4 meters tall, its crystalline fangs gleaming in the double sunlight, 6 legs ending in talons that could tear through ship hull plating. The creature's multiple eyes locked onto her, and Mira knew she was looking at her death. Then she heard something else. A high-pitched, chittering sound, almost like birdsong, if birds were made of fury and defiance. 2 small shapes burst from behind a fallen cargo container, no larger than house cats, their fur rippling with iridescent patterns that seemed to shift between blue and silver. Rocky and Tivy. She didn't know their names then, of course. She only knew that these 2 cubs, for they were clearly juveniles of some species, had positioned themselves between her and certain death. The razorback roared, a sound that shook debris loose from the wreckage. The cubs responded with their own vocalizations. A harmonic screech that made Mira's teeth ache. What happened next defied everything she thought she understood about predator-prey dynamics. The cubs moved like liquid lightning. Rocky, slightly larger with distinctive silver markings along his spine, launched himself at the razorback's foreleg with impossible speed. His small jaws clamped down, and the massive predator screamed. Tivy, more blue in her coloring, scaled the creature's flank faster than Mira's eyes could track, her tiny claws finding purchase in the gaps between armored plates. The razorback thrashed, trying to shake off the 2 small terrors that had turned it from hunter to hunted. Rocky released his grip only to dart forward again, this time targeting the creature's underbelly. Tivy reached the base of the skull and did something that made the massive predator convulse. Within seconds, the razorback was retreating, limping away with chunks torn from its supposedly impervious hide, leaving a trail of bioluminescent blood across the sand. Mira stood frozen, her survival training completely inadequate to process what she'd just witnessed. The 2 cubs trotted back to her, chittering softly, their aggressive postures melting into something almost playful. Rocky rubbed against her leg like an affectionate pet. Tivy chirped and sat at her feet, looking up with large, intelligent eyes. "What are you?" Mira whispered, kneeling down slowly. Over the following days, Mira learned. The cubs and she couldn't help but think of them that way. Despite their lethal efficiency never left her side. They hunted for her, bringing down prey she couldn't have hoped to catch. They led her to water sources hidden beneath the rocky outcrops. And they defended her with a ferocity that seemed impossible for creatures so small. On the 5th day, a pack of Carthexian screechers descended on her makeshift camp. 7 of them, each one an apex predator in its own right. Their sonic attacks capable of liquefying internal organs. Mira grabbed the plasma pistol she'd salvaged, knowing it would be useless against so many. She didn't need it. Rocky and Tivy moved with choreographed precision, their movements synchronized in a way that suggested deep intelligence. They used the terrain, used each other, used tactics that military commanders would study. One screecher fell with its throat torn out, another fled with a shattered leg, the rest retreated, their hunting cries turned to alarm. Mira watched in awe as the 2 cubs returned, barely winded, and curled up beside her as if they'd just been playing. It was on the 12th day that she found the cave paintings. Ancient pictographs carved into stone by some long-dead civilization showed scenes that made her understand. The cub species, whatever they were, had been depicted alongside bipedal figures, not as pets or beasts of burden, but as companions, partners, guardians. The images showed something else too. The cubs weren't native to Carthex Prime. The star patterns in the carvings matched old Earth constellations. Somehow, impossibly, these creatures had traveled from humanity's ancient past, or perhaps from humanity's distant future. When the rescue ship finally appeared in the orange sky on day 19, Mira made her decision before the landing struts touched ground. The rescue team emerged, weapons ready for hostile fauna, and found a human girl sitting calmly with two small alien creatures curled in her lap. "Stand back from those animals, Miss Thorne," the team leader ordered. "We don't know what they're capable of." "I know exactly what they're capable of," Mira interrupted, standing with Rocky and Tivy flanking her like honor guards. "And they're coming with me." The team leader opened his mouth to argue, then noticed something. The ground around Mira's camp was littered with remains. Razorback plates, screecher bones, evidence of dozens of kills, each one a creature that should have torn a lone human apart. "How did you?" he began. Mira smiled, scratching Rocky behind what might have been ears, while Tivy purred in sound that contained harmonics no Earth creature could produce. "I had guardians." As the rescue ship lifted off, leaving Carthex Prime's hostile surface behind, Mira looked at her two companions and wondered. In all of humanity's expansion across the stars, they'd never found true allies among alien species. Competition? Yes. Trade partners, occasionally. But never this, never the bond of protection freely given. Perhaps, she thought, the galaxy had been waiting for humans to prove themselves worthy of such guardians. Or perhaps Rocky and Tivy had simply recognized something in her, some quality that transcended species and spoke to a more fundamental truth. She was human. And somehow, that had been enough.